What's up, guys? This is Justin. I'm joined by Lana. How are you, Lana?
I'm great. How are you, Justin?
I'm doing great. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do, and what are your current challenges when it comes to communication skills?
All right. I have been a commercial real estate investor for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
To be more specific, I invest in mobile home communities, also known as trailer parks.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the challenges that I came to kind of realize is that I find it a little hard to communicate with my customers, partners, investors. Sometimes, like, there are certain things and facts that I know, but I can't always find a way to explain it to someone. But I guess I also have this fear of like not giving enough information and then having my customers feel like, oh, but you haven't told me about this, you haven't told me about that, because I can't always cover everything.
I think this is a good point that you bring up, because it is a challenge that a lot of people have, a lot of business people. How do I conduct the conversation? How do I lead it? The key thing you have to remember is that you do want to lead the conversation. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So in my case, when I'm trying to sell something, when I'm trying to sign up someone new, I have a basic template of how the conversation is going to go. And then as the conversation goes forward, I'm always open to feedback. So I'm always paying attention to see, is this person still on board? Are they still with me? Do they seem like they are confused about something? Do they have any questions? So I'm always checking in, not continuously, but at key points during the conversation to see, are you still with me? Do you have any questions about that? Does that make sense? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they might say, yeah, it makes sense. A little bit later, yeah, it makes sense. And then a little bit later, I say, do you have any questions? And they say, well, actually, I was wondering about that because blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Right? So when you have a template or framework for how the conversation is going to go, it gives you a guide. It's almost like having railroad tracks where you can just, like, there's a certain direction and a pathway that you're prepared to execute. And then at any point along the way, you can stop, you can answer questions, right? You can give them feedback, or they can give you feedback, and so on.
So would you say I would have to, because I've never done that, I just go based on what people are asking me, and I might continue talking about the same subject rather than switching it. So would you say have like a few key points that I already know that I'm going to address and speak about?
Exactly. So when you know what you're going to say, you have a plan prepared ahead of time, then it's going to be that much easier for you to lead the conversation.
Okay.
It's important for you as the business person or as the salesperson, whatever industry you're in, if you're trying to sell or persuade someone to make any kind of decision, it's important for you to be the leader in the interaction, right? To project leadership and to project expertise, right? Because as soon as you start flailing or you start being stagnant and you're allowing your counterpart to lead the interaction, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to go in the direction you want it to go.
And I've had that happen, so.
Exactly. So when you have a plan in place and you're prepared ahead of time, prepared with all of your literature, all of your key questions, all of the key points that you want to touch on, you're good to go. And then what you'll find is that some customers are pretty much good to go within 5 or 10 minutes. All it requires is a little bit of FaceTime or a quick phone call. Maybe they have a minor question here or there. Sometimes they don't even have a question at all. They've already done their research beforehand. They've researched you, they've looked at your website, they've looked at your social media, whatever. So and those are some of the best closes because it's quick, smooth, and easy, right? You should also be prepared if they do have questions, obviously, or if they do have resistance or objections, or if they have criticisms or anything like that. But at the very least, you can pretty much guarantee yourself some good sales and some good closes if you have your plan ahead of time and you're prepared. So does that make sense?
It does, yeah. It does. I feel like if I knew, rather than going in and not knowing what to expect and what is it that I'm going to speak to them about, besides just basic information that I already know, either it's about the home or about the program or how it works or what are the benefits, rather than doing that, I could just come in and be prepared, and regardless of what is it that they're concerned about or what they are not sure, or let's say sometimes they don't even have any questions.
Right.
So I might rather go in and just tell them, oh, by the way, this is how it works, or here's a great benefit because of this. So I feel like it would definitely help.
Exactly.
So when you have this prepared.
The more you prepare, the better. So preparation is key. And then once you're prepared and you feel very confident in your presentation and in your information, then you can communicate very effectively. And you're much more relaxed, you're much more confident. So if you notice in our little example, I wasn't really asking any questions.
Yeah.
I was open. I was kind of neutral, right? So I was just kind of waiting to see what you were going to give me. So that's like a perfect person, because that person is kind of a blank slate, right? They're ready for you to just give information and to lead them, right? So if you say, okay, are you interested in this, XYZ? The person says, yeah, sure, I'm open, I'm interested, tell me more. Great. Well, I have this plan prepared for you, right? Or I have this organization, or I have this product or this service, and we do XYZ, boom, boom, boom. Again, you have it prepared ahead of time, so you know exactly your talking points, what you're going to touch on, and then maybe you throw in another question, something more specific and detailed, right? Have you ever worked with someone like this before? Have you ever done this kind of service before? Have you ever invested in something like this before? What's the biggest investment that you made before? Things like that. More informational question, and then from there, sometimes that leads into a different sales pitch versus another one, depending on their responses, right? But at least if you're prepared, then you're good to go.